Hello everyone, myself Akshay of Data Science A section. My ATT concept video topic is about indentation in Python. Indentation in Python. Indentation about Python. We are gonna discuss about detailed information about indentation used in Python. The context we are gonna discuss in the topic are introduction about indentation in Python, what is indentation in Python, examples of them, applications of indentation in Python, how do we avoid indentation errors, benefits, and as well as disadvantages. Introduction. Indentation in Python is simply the spaces at the beginning of the code line. Indentation in other languages like C, C++, etc. is just for readability, but in Python the indentation is an essential and mandatory concept that should be followed then when writing a Python code, otherwise the Python interpreter throws an indentation error. What is indentation in Python? Indentation is a leading white space and tabs before any statement in Python. The reason why the indentation is important in Python is that the indentation serves another purpose other than the code readability. The Python treats the statements with the same indentation levels, the statements with an equal number of white spaces before them as a single code block. So whereas in languages like C, C++, etc., a block of code is represented by curly braces in a Python. The block is a group of statements that place the same indentation level, that is same of white leading a. As we observe in the picture, we could see the how we follow the indentation spaces on the given picture. All the statements which are on the same level of indentation, the same number of white spaces before them, belong the single block. So from the single diagram, the statement is a level line 1 and line 2 and line 7 belongs the same block, and the block has to 0 or lowest level of indentation. The statements 3 and 5 is a indented one step following another block of the same level. The level of indentation similarly statements 5 6 indented two steps together form another block at the second level of indentation. Two statements, which is an if statement. Statements 3 5 have an indented one step, hence they belong to the single block. And since the line 2 is if the statement, the block indented below, if it forms the body of it. So here the body of the statement, if the statement at a line 2 includes all the lines that are indented below, that is the lines 3 4 5 and 6. Now that we know that the statement at line numbers 3 4 5 and 6 forms the body of, if the statement at the line 2, let us understand the indentation for them. Statements at 3 and 5 are uniformly indented so that the belonging single block 2 from the interpretation, and then they are executed one by one. Here we are going to see a detailed statements that are going to be indented in the following slides. Statement at a line 4 makes up the body of the if statement at the line. As we know, any statement that are indented belong and if form the body of its statement. Similarity, the statement at line 6 makes up the body of else statement at line 5. This is how the indentation helps define the blocks and also identify the statements the block belongs to. Execution starts at the line 1 followed by the statement at line 2 if the condition is evaluated, and in case it returns true, then the control goes inside the body of the if the statement which brings the statements 3 4 5 and 6 to the picture. Now the statement at the line is executed, and if the condition is evaluated, in the case of it returns to true, then the 4 is executed, after which control goes to line 7. If the condition at 3 returns false, then the control goes to another statement, another 3, that is line 5, and then line 6 executed followed by the statement. Here is an example 1. Below an example code, the snipped with the correct indentation in Python. Here we have taken a name and the name called Rahul, and we have given a space. This space between if and print statement is called indentation. The output, you could see a output in a different three different lines. Explanation. The name variable gets assigned to Rahul in the first statement. Now the statement if is equals to Rahul is evaluated. It returns true, so it executes the body of if which is indented next to statements below the if statement. The two statements inside the body are print welcome Rahul and print how are you. They are executed. Once the statement gets executed and the else part is skipped and the control goes to the next statement which is print have a great day, which is executed. In this program the statement inside the body is of if and else are indented. Below in an example snip with the correct another example. See the explanation of this example. Variable is I initialized to 1 in the first statement. Now while I is equal to 6 is executed, which is true, so that the body of while is executed. The body of while is all the statements that are indented below the while loop. So print value is equals to string 1 is equals to I plus 1 are executed. This is process repeated till the while condition true returns false. Here the statement print value is plus and string I1 and I is equals to I plus 1 are uniformly indented to form a block and also the body of the while statement. Now let us see how to indent a program in a Python code. Let us walk through how to indent a Python code by talking a simple example. Check if a given number is even or odd. If it's 0, print either even or odd. Let us discuss the approach steps. The first step is assign an integer variable with an input number. Write an if else block to check if the input number is 0. If it is not 0, inside if the block another if else inner if else block to check the condition number percent 2 is equals to 0. This is even check for a given number. If the condition number is equals to percent 2 is equals to 0 is true, print the number is even. If the condition number is percent 2 is equals to false, then the number is odd. If the if else the between if the number is 0 inside outer else block, print the given number is either even or odd. Here is a program which showed us which the given program is even or odd. Take a glance at the given picture and see the explanation here. At the first level of the indentation line, the number 1, 3 and 8 belongs to a single block. Execution starts from the line 1 and followed by line 3. At line 3, the, the if condition is evaluated and since the number is equal to 0 returns true. Control goes inside if condition which is indented block of statements below the if at line 3. Inside the if block, the line number 0 and 4 and 6 are on the same line indentation level, second indentation level, so they belong to a single block. The if condition at a line no number 4 is evaluated and since the 50% 2 is equal to returns to 0. True. Control goes inside if statement at line 4. So control goes to the line 5 and print the statement executed. The control lead skips the else block inside the indentation as the block of the other if else goes to the other line called line 9. To avoid Python indentation error, the Python will throw an indentation error if you skip the indentation. For example, the given below code throw an indentation error, unexpected and indented block error. As you have seen in the given figure, the print statement is given without white spaces, so it throwed an error. As the white space is given in the next slide, so that the indentation is correct. Example 2. The number of white spaces in the code should be the same for the same block of code. Otherwise, the Python will throw an indentation error, unexpected indented. So look at the error and the correction. The white spaces are given same because the first statement and the second statement should maintain the same number of white spaces as it throws indentation errors. Error number 3. Indentation at the first line of code is not allowed. Python will throw an indentation error and unexpected indent. Look at the wrong indentation and even the correct indentation. Statement 4. Indented statement should have an attaching statement, or instance all the statements indent below form a block and belong to the statement if statement. This is applicable for while or for functions, classes, etc. in Python. The below example takes us a point clear. Look at the wrong indentation error. The program will throw an indentation error and an indent does not match any outer indentation level. Error because the last print statement which is indented does not match with other indentation. No attaching outer statement in the program. Hence this will throw an error. Here the last print statement indentation uh, uh, match with this last code of indentation. So the indentation is correct in this statement. Python indentation rules. Python uses the four spaces as default indentation spaces. However, the number of spaces can be anything. It is up to the user. But but a minimum of one space is needed to indent the statement. The first line of Python code cannot have an indentation. Indentation is mandatory in Python to define the block of statements. The number of spaces must be in a uniform of a block code. It is performed to use the white spaces instead of tabs to indent in Python. Also, either using white spaces or tabs to indent. Intermixing of tabs and white spaces is indentation. Indentation can cause a wrong indentation errors. Benefits of indentation in Python. Indentation of code leads to a better readability. All through the primary reasons for indentation in Python is to identify the block structures, missing and errors that sometimes pop up in C and C++ language can be avoided in Python. And also the number of lines of code is reduced. Disadvantages of indentation in Python. Code must be carefully indented with proper number of white spaces and ensure that the white spaces uniformity is maintained in a single block. If the number of lines in Python code is huge, sometimes this can become redundant if the indentation is corrupted by chance. Without the use of good editors, ideals that help with the indentation writing Python code, especially huge lines of code, is sometimes a tedious task because the each line we should make a type in the indentation as well. And finally, I conclude by saying that the Python indentation is something that is a foundation concept for any new Python programmer. Understanding how indentation works for the first step before you can start the writing code in the Python. Thank you. I hope you have got a brief idea about indentation in Python.